welcome to the fourth day of Hope Week. Oh, we're very excited that we've had so many wonderful comments and participants, and uh, it's a lot of education. But I think the more you know, the better you are in
Yeah,
with this illness. I mean, knowledge is power. A lot of
yeah,
it's boring, but I've been in the hospital and I'm like, oh, I know about that. I know what to ask, because a lot
right.
about healthcare is knowing what to ask. And
Yeah,
that's what these educational sessions do. Today,
right.
we're gonna Gigi is going to be our MC today. She's been on peritoneal dialysis for about 4 years now, right? And
About 6 years, 6 years.
oh, 6 years. Oh my
Yeah.
God, Templeton. Are you on the transplant?
I'm on the UCSF transplant list. I've had all my workups and everything. So they do the maintenance every 3 months of the blood work. So I'm just waiting for. So I was really interested yesterday when she was talking about the waiting and the call and everything, just to know what to expect. So I'm in the waiting for the call stage and
And
everything.
and I've been there before. Sometimes you get a false alarm and they call
That's
you.
what she was saying. Yeah.
But well, Gigi has been very supportive of our support groups and participating, and she's just got such a beautiful spirit about her. We're so excited. She's going to be our MC, and I'm going to turn it over to Gigi.
Okay, thank you so much. Again, like I said, I'm so excited to be here. I didn't know that this was the fourth year, but I'm glad that I plugged in for this year because today, every day's been exciting, but I know this is going to top everything and be even more exciting because we're going to be talking about being our own advocate and advocating for others that don't feel they have a voice and they need somebody to advocate for. So, this first speaker, I when I heard about her, she just sounds so dynamic. Um, we are going to be listening to Saley Traore, and I don't want to mess up the last name, but she can correct me when I come on. Is it Uwalaki or Uwalaki? So I'm not sure how that vowel should be pronounced. But
Okay.
Saley is going to talk about all the things that she's been through. She started dialysis as a youth, so kind of similar to Lori. I don't know the age that when she started it, probably in her teens, and
Mhm.
she transitioned into adulthood.
Mhm.
She chose a meaningful career. She didn't
Thank
let
you.
throughout the process of CKD, she never let the disease stop her from her goals. And that's another big part of advocating as well. She became a pharmacist, I understand. She
Mhm.
started her own nonprofit. She's a volunteer for RSN for years. She was a participant or either a promoter or of the Teen Prom, a PEP speaker for RSN. She's
Mhm.
also a mom, probably one of her most glorious achievements. I'm so much looking forward to hearing what Saleh is going to say. She is going to tell us about her
Gigi,
journey.
Gigi, before you go on,
Uh-huh.
there we go. We were only seeing the top of your head. It looked like we were on
Oh,
that
oh,
TV
okay.
show where they're looking over the
I'm holding
fence.
my phone.
What
Sorry.
was that show called where they were looking over the fence? I can't remember it. What was it?
Oh, okay.
Home
I'm
improvement.
holding it. I know, and it's such, and when
Okay.
you get your arm will get a sense to lay it down. But like I was saying, and Saleh Traore Uwalake or Uwalake, she is going to talk to us about her journey, about all of the things she's achieved, and how she never let any of the CKD obstacles prevent her from her goals and her achievements. And so I want to, if you're ready, I want you to welcome Saleh as our first speaker to speak about advocating and advocating for others. Saleh, are you ready?
Aw, I am. Thank you so much for that amazing intro. So it's okay. I please don't sweat the pronunciation. It's Saley Traore Uwalaka.
Okay,
Um,
so
I
Uwalaka.
yeah, it's Uwalaka. Thank you so much. I'm really, really excited to be here, and I think my connection to The Renal Support Network really
Mhm.
stems from some of the work that I was doing at Children's Hospital and my child life specialist connecting me with Lori and Cher and Jim and Diane. There are so many people, and Martin Lowe. There's so many people that I am still really, really connected with from my time and experience in connecting with RSN. So when they called and asked me to do this, it was like, yeah, of course. But my journey with chronic kidney disease, and part of what I try to explain to everyone I meet and how I got started, it was really sudden. I wasn't really sick. Even many of the signs and symptoms that I talk to a lot of people about keeping an eye on, the change in taste, the nausea and vomiting, the chronic fatigue, and all those things. I didn't have any of those things. I went to my primary care provider to get cleared so that I could play soccer for my high school at 15. And he was like shocked at my blood pressure. And then the labs came back and we were sent to Children's Hospital in Washington, D.C. And I remember a really handsome doctor coming in and telling us that I had kidney disease and needed to begin dialysis right away. This was mine and my entire family's first exposure to the healthcare system in America. We didn't, and my mom, who was here, spoke no English, just spoke French. So I am there at 15, translating for my mom, but also trying to make sense of what this entire thing was going to mean for me and my family moving forward. And my 11-year-old sister, who's also filling in to translate at times. But really, when I look back on that moment, I had to grow up. I had to grow up overnight, really, because meeting a child life specialist, a dietitian, I met a lot of people in the hospital. Everybody was just committed to, this is what you're supposed to do. This is what you're supposed to do. This is what you're supposed to do. I'd had yet to meet anyone who really wanted to explain what it means for me moving forward, and that this diagnosis had no cure, and that this was going to be something I lived with, and my outlook and perspective on it was going to make a huge difference in my quality of life and how I saw myself, how I related to other people. How I compared myself to my siblings. I'm the oldest of 6, and I'm the only one with chronic kidney disease, and for a really long time struggled with that and felt like, I was the defective child. I'm the one in the assembly line where one thing got missing and everybody else was perfect. So there are a lot of things that therapy has helped me kind of get through and helped me understand about what it means to be a person who lives with chronic kidney disease. So I think this really did start with therapy and meeting a pharmacist, because she was the first person in my entire journey who asked me one question. And I don't know, it could have been the intersection between I was ready to engage in my care, and I finally had somebody who was prepared to help me understand what I needed to do. But she simply asked me, how much do you understand about chronic kidney disease and how it affects how you live, how I live? I kind of got stuck on that because no one's really asked me that before, and I had no answers for her. I just started crying. And she really just took me step by step and explained what this meant. And in that moment, I don't know if it was an aha moment, but I really realized that this was something that I needed to take charge of. And it kind of just ignited this other feeling. For 2 years, the feeling that I had was defeat and kind of like a lot of resentment, a lot of anger, because there's nothing anyone could tell me about how it happened. They just called it malformed kidneys. It wasn't drug related. It wasn't genetic. I didn't have an answer to why this happened to me. So there was a lot of anger I carried around because of that question mark, but yet you expect me to take my binders, to go to dialysis, stay the entire time, go to appointments, go see a dentist, go see an eye doctor, like do all these things, but no one is telling me how I got here. And so really breaking up with that need to understand why I am here, but focusing on where I wanted to go. And one of the biggest goals I had was higher education. My mom is highly educated. My dad is. Education is very important in our family. And so I didn't want to be the exception. And if I was going to be the exception, the thought that a disease was the reason why I was going to be the exception, that really bothered me. So I looked into ways of how can I coexist with chronic kidney disease where I get everything I still want without sacrificing my health along that journey. And this is where a lot of that ownership and that control came in. Not just asking questions, but demanding answers to my questions. And when physicians have known you since you were 15 years old, and then you become 18 and you're 19 and you're 20 and you're a young adult, and they can see the transformation happening where the questions used to go through an adult and now it's coming directly from me and asking difficult questions. Can I ever become a mother? What will it take for me to become a mom? That's a goal for me. Can I go to college? If I wanted to go to college, what do I have to do? If I wanted to go away at college, what do I have to do? If I wanted to do a residency after pharmacy school, what do I have to do? And what are the resources that exist to support me? So going to pharmacy school had really been my way to give back to Camille for what she did for me. Because in that moment, she opened my eyes to the fact that this is where we are, but here's what's possible if you take charge. Here's what's possible. And also just being there and making sure that I understood the changes in my medications and what to expect. And now as a pharmacist, it makes sense to me because when I took a new medication and started experiencing a side effect for the first 2 years, I stopped taking it and wouldn't tell anybody about it. Then in come Camille's, when she prepares me, you may start feeling really tired. You may start to have a headache. You may start feeling like you're not in the mood to eat. This may happen. When those things start happening, rather than stop, I talk to her. Hey, I'm experiencing this. And I just don't think I can continue if this continues. And she works with the nephrologist to find an alternative. And so to me, my blueprint and the thing that's kept me really, really grounded in continuing to not compromise on the things I want, examples have been really great. Seeing other people who have chronic kidney disease have everything they want, and seeing other people who have chronic kidney disease live full, happy lives. And they aren't just talking and saying things like, there's a popular things people always say, like, chronic kidney disease is part of who you are. It's not who you are. And I always think that it's such a cool slogan, but I've never been able to relate to it because every choice I have had to make, I have had to factor kidney disease into it. I can't go to pharmacy school too far because my family needs to be able to get to me quickly. I can't do a residency too far because my family needs to be able to get to me quickly. The cities I pick to go do residencies or go to college have to have a transplant center, and I have to do research on that transplant center's quality of care and the programs that they have. So to me, it's been such a huge factor. But when a person says that to me, but I also see that reflected in how they live, I find that so much more impactful. So for me, it's been that visual advocacy component of it, not just the cool slogan and the cool things, but the visual advocacy. When I see people like Lori and I see people like Mishi, and I see people like Cher or like people that I have known for a really long time, but also people who are newly diagnosed that talk about their daily routine on social media. I show up for them and support them because I know the power that seeing someone who's living with kidney disease and thriving, I know how deeply meaningful that's been in my life. And that's my advice for you. Look for the examples around you. Look for people that are doing it because it demystifies the journey for you. It makes it less of a, they only have it because of XYZ. And really, it makes you start to think about it like, well, they're not special. Like, I don't believe people are special. Like, if they were able to do it, I don't see how I can't. Or if I connected with them, maybe they could guide me through this as well. And that's really the message I wanted to drive home. My dream was education, and my dream's always been to give back. And being a pharmacist has opened that door for me in a way I don't think I even realized I'd be able to do. And when I tell my patients that I am a kidney disease survivor, you can see like this thing come over them. And I tell them, like, I will never tell you that I know how you feel, but I can tell you that if someone told me that this is something that I would live with for the rest of my life, so I've been told that, and these are the places that took me mentally. So that opportunity to relate to my patients has been great. Advocacy is a great thing. It's a powerful thing. It's a very profound thing. Look for people that are doing it and look for people that can inspire you. Resist the urge to compare horror stories. Please resist it. We've all had so many surgeries that it's difficult to not sit there and like share scars and talk about this and talk about that, but resist the urge to share the horror stories and lean into sharing the encouragement and the success stories and connecting us with one another. That's really what I wanted to share. And thank you so much for having me. I don't think I'm deserving, really. Thank you.
I have a question for you, Saley.
Yes, please.
So you got married recently. Tell us about how you met your husband.
Very interesting question. Absolutely. My husband was my classmate in pharmacy school.
Okay.
Isn't that interesting? So I went to pharmacy school like super focused. It was like, I have to make the grades. And I went through a very competitive program. So I really had to focus. And I met him at a party that was like his birthday party. I showed up, the whole class was invited, and we met and connected. And I think that it's been really, like I always say, transformative, and it sounds super corny, but having somebody who's never had any experience or exposure to somebody with a chronic kidney disease and his willingness to like want to learn, which has been like the craziest thing. And he's had a great teacher, my sister, who's been there from the beginning. She's been like his coach. She's always just like, okay, if she's hospitalized, she's going to have a bag here, and the bag is going to have all these different things. Make sure in that bag, there's this, there's that. And we are finally at a place now where he knows if hospitalization is imminent, he knows who to call, what needs to happen. But forever, it was just me and my sister. And now to have a partner, that was definitely not something I had dreamed or even thought would be possible. So that's been one of the surprises of my journey, I think.
Oh, wow. That's lovely. That's
Thank
wonderful.
you. Thank you.
We have a few more minutes for questions. Gigi, do you have any questions for Saley?
I think you're on mute, Gigi.
I'm unmuted. I'm trying to prop up my phone in a stable place. So first of all, Saley, I loved your presentation. I love your openness and how, I mean, at 15, you had to literally become an adult.
Yeah.
And then you had to navigate with your mom, with her language being French primarily. Mm-hmm. And then you and your sister did a translation. But what I really, really like is when you were talking about you found a person to be able to, part of your care team, to be able to talk to, so you didn't have to hide things from them. You didn't have to feel a certain way, because everybody's journey, like you're saying, to the CKD is different. Like mine was because of uncontrollable high blood pressure, but in your case, they didn't tell you anything. So you had different emotions and everything. So with the therapy, do you think that that's something that helped you then? Is it a continual thing with you, the therapy, or have you reached your milestone so you feel like you know how to quarterback it yourself?
Oh my gosh. I don't think I'll ever quit therapy.
Okay.
I don't think I'll ever quit. I will never quit therapy. Becoming a mom, and also the process of even being cleared to become a mom. It was an emotional roller coaster. The adjustment in my drugs, the waiting. No, I will never quit therapy. I started by the time I was about 16, 17, and it has been the most constant thing because I've been transplanted now twice. My first transplant lasted 15 years. That was living related. My second transplant, that was through the donor list. And I underestimated how emotionally these two journeys would be so different. I was sitting in a transplant coordinator's office and they were asking me if I would be okay with receiving a kidney that had hepatitis C, a kidney from an incarcerated person, high-risk individuals. And I burst out in tears. I underestimated all of the different things that people who have to go on the list are faced with respect to choices. My cousin, it was just, oh yeah, he's cleared, he's good, it's his private medical record. So there wasn't a lot of sharing of some of those things for my first transplant. But this time I was doing the running around. I was going to the appointments. Without my therapist, I wouldn't have been able to do it. And I know that there's still a lot of stigma around therapy. For me, I have to say that I am a strong advocate for it because of all of the different ways it's helped me fill in the gaps and sort how I feel. There's anger about a lot of things with having CKD, and allowing me to really talk me through the source of that anger has helped me kind of transform that energy from anger to actually, what can we do? Like, what could you do about it? Type of thing. I will never quit therapy. I will never quit therapy. And I strongly recommend anyone, if you can, to explore it and stick with it. I don't think I started seeing its benefit for like over a year. I was going, but I was just like, I don't know. We just talk. Like, I don't know if it's helping. And so it took a while too for me to start feeling like, yeah, this is something helpful. Thank you so much for that question, Gigi.
Saley, before we move on to our next presenter, we have 2 more questions for you that came in through the chat.
Absolutely.
First from Jacqueline. She wants to know, how did your peers treat you?
Oh gosh, high school was awful. But I talk about that often when I talk to pediatric patients. Don't be afraid when your friends change. It's okay. Some of my friends in high school were still friends through today, but I had to explain a lot, and that had a lot of emotional trauma that went with it. It's, why do you look so different? You look so much darker now. You've lost so much weight. Wait, why is there a scar on your throat? Wait, why is there a scar on your arm? What is that in your arm? How come you don't come to school 3 times a week now? How come there's a lot to explain. Some of the friendships, I lost it because I shut down. I have to take responsibility for that. And some of the friendships were just like, she's never here, and they moved on. But high school for me was a blur. I was on dialysis for 4 years, from 15 to 19. That was all of high school, right? I didn't get transplanted to 19. But as far as peers and how they treat you, people who love you will stick around, and they will never get tired of wanting to learn more. I want to encourage you to share as much as you're comfortable sharing. But if there are certain things you want to keep close, either because you still don't even know how you feel about it, you are entitled to that. You should not feel bad about that. You have the right to keep certain things close to you because you are not ready to talk about them. And your friends, they'll respect those boundaries.
Mhm.
That is so true. Thank you, Saley. And two more questions. I'm just going to put them into one for you.
Okay.
Because wants to know, how long have you been a kidney patient? And then a follow-up question, James wants to know, how long have you had your second transplant?
Yeah. Okay. All great. So I was diagnosed at 15. That's in 2000. So I am in my 23rd year of CKD triumph, right? And crazy. For my 25th year, I think I'm having a party. I don't know yet, but in March 2025, I'm going to do something to celebrate being here. And then my second transplant, oh my gosh, it was in November of 2020. Everyone remembers what happened in 2020, right? So during COVID, when they stopped elective surgeries, I was one of those people that were super close and getting labs monthly, where I was like, this is going to delay my transplant without a doubt. So I was one of the people that was celebrating when elective surgeries were back on, because I was like, if you were on my Instagram, you could see how I was just asking a bunch of questions. What do we know about this? And when they're going to allow ORs to open for elective surgery again, because I knew I was so close. So my second transplant will be 3 in November. And I think one popped up about medication adjustment through pregnancy. I'm going to make my email available, and I'm also on Instagram as well. I'm your typical millennial. I am on social media. I am on social media. I'm guilty. I am totally your typical millennial. I won't be hard to find. I'll share all my contact, but the majority of the drugs that had to be adjusted, they had to stop my mycophenolate and switch me to azathioprine, and then the dose adjustment with my tacrolimus. And that's still going on, by the way, because I'm still losing weight after the baby. So they have to continue to adjust that to therapeutic ranges. So that journey, I'm still on the medication adjustment journey. My son is 8 months old now. But anyone interested to continue this conversation, please don't hesitate. I'm more than happy to engage about all of this. Are you coming to the prom this year? I have my dress picked out already, Lori. Like, I will be there. I'm going to be the obnoxious person just talking to everyone, but I cannot wait to go to prom. I can't wait to be there again. That's like one of the highlights of my CKD journey. It was like so cool. This is exclusively just for us. Are you kidding me? Yeah, of course. I'll be there. Thank you so much for the audience. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Saley. And if anyone is interested in continuing to hear Saley speak, she's actually going to be on I'm hosting a young adult pediatric panel tomorrow, and Saley's going to be one of my panelists. So tune in for that.
Yeah,
thank you again, Saley. Super inspirational. And I'll go ahead and bring back up Gigi, who's going to introduce our next speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really enjoyed that. It was so personalized. So our next speaker will be Lori Hartwell. She is a lady that has had CKD since a toddler. So she's the reason why we're here. She started this organization. It was her vision. She's a go-getter. She's a mentor to many of us. We look up to her journey, her inspiration, all the things that she's achieved. And I can't say any more nicer things about her because she's so positive. I really liked the other day when she was talking, and one of the things she said as far as CKD and your medications and your treatment, and she broke it down. And I said, wow, it couldn't get any more basic than that. She said, follow the rules and you stay alive. And I remember that, and it just stuck with me, and I'll never forget it. So I thank you so much, Lori. We are looking forward to hearing what inspiration you're going to have regarding being your own advocate, because you are a champion advocate for yourself and for us as well. So Lori, if you're ready to come to us, we are ready for you to join us.
Thank you, Gigi. Well, everyone, thank you so much for being here today. And a shout out to our corporate mission partners for making this happen.